Your sensors are correct. Do not adjust your heading. You've discovered the Omega Particle, streaming to the Alpha Quadrant and beyond. Here's your host, the anchorman of the Federation, the Doctor of Dilithium. This is Jonathan Wiegand.
Welcome back to the Omega Particle Podcast. You know me. It's your Doctor of Dilithium on the cutting edge of societal evolution, meeting and surpassing all of your greatest expectations. We are covering the very first episode of Season 2 of Strange New Worlds, The Broken Circle. And I have to say, I love doing the review for Picard Season 3. And maybe let's just be honest here. That might be some of the best Trek we've seen in the last 20 years. So coming into Strange New Worlds, it's a little tough for me because I have these Picard lenses on, and I don't know how that's gonna maybe warp my perception. So I'm trying to be as professional as I can and give Strange New Worlds exactly the credit it's due. But I will say, man, Picard was so good and so fulfilling. But so we're shifting vibes, getting back to the original tales of the OG Enterprise. And I have to say, I was kind of pleasantly surprised with this week's opening episode. And again, let me know what you guys think. Did you like it? Or was it a pile of disappointment? Just like fruit striped gum. And this is for all my millennials growing up in the 90s. You know what that was. It was a gum that, what was it, Luna? Lasted 20 seconds? It was awful. But anyway, it's so good to be back on the podcast. We've been, I guess, we don't know if it's mold, allergies, sinus infections, but I've literally had like 3 sinus infections over the past month. So it's been really just taking a toll mentally, like can I just get well again? So hopefully that's kind of gearing up, but I hope everyone in the real world out there, I hope everyone enjoyed Father's Day, and there was Juneteenth coming up here in the United States last Monday. Happy Juneteenth for all those American listeners out there. I will say this, it's just been a real pleasure to talk to some of you guys. I know some people have reached out for me to do invites for other podcasts, and I'll get back to you on those. I really just like to stick with my beautiful OPP audience. So, but maybe if you guys, please let me know if you would like me to go on other podcasts. I might do it. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's kind of dive right back into the review of The Broken Circle. And just to kind of a recap of reviews here on Omega Particle, it's 100% original. So I don't read anything. I don't read reviews. It's just exactly what I think watching the episode. So it's kind of dangerous because I may say I like it and literally everyone's like hated it. So, but that's my honest opinion, and it's the anchorman of the Federations. I mean, this is what I do. These are my words and mine alone. And I like to cover the good parts, the bad parts, and plus, those fun Easter eggs that we all love, and potential plot lines the writers may stick in there or may hide. Example is the Picard Season 3 with Data and the musical notes and the end credit scene. So it kind of pointed to Data coming back. But anyway, without further ado, Luna, let's light this candle and start the Grand Theft Enterprise. So on paper, Strange New Worlds may appear as the most conventional addition, to the current Star Trek franchise. I mean, it kind of follows that more episodic format. It's kind of like the original series. It's very lighthearted and has that kind of ambience and vibe with it, and it's very embracing of the inherent wonders of space exploration. It doesn't shy away from that and always comes back to exploring the worlds and even the strange ones. Are we going to keep that? I don't know, maybe. But, I mean, despite its nostalgic elements, the show kind of never really, especially in the first season, never really felt stagnant to me or really kind of bound by its past. And that's kind of the trouble with doing Star Trek, is that there's so much canon that to fit a show right before Kirk in there is really tough, because there's so many things bounding it. And now we had Discovery kind of encasing the show in the timeline, so it was kind of difficult to really work and have some movability, but it really has shined. And speaking of shining, I think the show does best when it kind of playfully messes with and challenges our assumptions about, the nature of the show and what we expect. I mean, it constantly surprising us with this different genre or tone or even the format changes that kind of really breathe new life into the episodes. And again, that was kind of really with the first season, and not a surprise. It kind of continued with the season 2 premiere, and it really chose kind of an unexpected path, and it did the exact opposite of pretty much what I thought they were going to do, and what a lot of successful shows would have done after that massive season 1 cliffhanger. So instead of rather like kicking it off with kind of a catch up for the new viewers, or simply, a sunny affair meant to like kind of remind us of why we were all so glad this show's back, it kind of throws us right into the fire. It throws us right into this kind of messy character dynamics and kind of life or death stakes. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that the show's back. I'm love that we have new Trek, especially with this writer strike going on and the potential that it might not end anytime soon. So I'm definitely savoring these new Treks. Despite the conclusion, like I mentioned, where Una faced like arrest for concealing her genetic background, the Broken Circle barely talked about it. And I was like really surprised by that. But again, a welcome surprise, because I was expecting it to be almost a continuation of the season 1 finale that would go right into resolution to fix that. And instead we get this, let's steal the Enterprise and the Klingon war. And it's just kind of, I don't know. It really kind of messed with me, and it really allowed the story to open up a little bit, because it temporarily removes Captain Pike from the Enterprise. And I feel like a less confident show might have just hesitated to kept Anson Mount, the face of the franchise, to kind of really just been the vocal point of the first episode back, especially such a highly anticipated return. However, Strange New Worlds didn't do that. It fearlessly, in my opinion, seized the chance to spotlight other character arcs of like kind of B players, confident that we would like be happy with it and go on this journey. And so, I mean, it was a gamble, but I think it paid off. And again, if you guys disagree with me or agree with me, please let me know. Hit us up on social media and we can talk about it. I do it for a lot of fans, and it's always fun debating or even kind of being like, yeah, that was awesome, like with you guys, because it is fun. That's why one of the aspects I love about the podcast. So moving on, just kind of a general overview of the episode, deep diving into Spock now. So I want to say that Ethan Peck really kind of doesn't get in my opinion, the admiration and recognition for the tremendous talent as a performer he's bringing in, especially with his portrayal of Spock. And I mean, it kind of really has set him apart from both Leonard Nimoy and Zachary Quinto's interpretations of the character. It just seems that it's a very youthful Spock, and it's kind of nice to see him being confronted with these weighty responsibilities of a seasoned officer. So it's kind of going back and forth between the kid and this grown-up level of commander that we see. So that's really nice. And also how he grapples with the aftermath of his decision, to like unleash his inner fury to combat the Gorn in All Who Wonder from the first season. To me, that just really definitely become the breakaway, from Nimoy and Quinto, because we didn't really see Spock embrace his emotions so openly and visibly than ever before. And we still see him kind of unsure and uncertain how to navigate them, kind of a young Spock. And I think that's a really cool thing to see, especially that this character has been around for over 50 years. The fact that we're seeing a new side of him is really interesting and is incredibly difficult. So credit where credit is due to Ethan Peck. And bringing it back to this episode, I mean, we see Spock undergoing just an emotional roller coaster, man. He's ranging from anxiety and stress when assuming command to like grappling with complex feelings towards Nurse Chapel, and then ultimately experiencing profound devastation upon realizing the potential sacrifice of 2 officers, to save countless others. And Peck, brilliantly navigates this array of emotions and conveys Spock's inner turmoil with his facial expressions that speak volumes without the need for words. So it seems like Peck knows how to portray Spock. He knows how to do the little things. And that's very impressive to me. And it just brings a lot of delight and just unexpected surprises with the character. And I gotta admit, Spock has never been my favorite Star Trek character, but I like this portrayal. I like it a lot. And speaking of Nurse Chapel, I mean, we see Chapel and I can never do his name right, Luna. Mbenga, I mean, they carry a lot of beneath the surface. I mean, they both possess like this hidden, kind of like an onion, as Shrek says, this hidden layers and hidden depths. And I mean, it's difficult to fathom, either of these people are battle-hardened fighters, but they are. And I mean, even Mbenga carries a vial, I guess you could say is adrenaline, suggesting, he has some unresolved and enduring trauma, that maybe we'll explore in future episodes and in future seasons. And I will say this, kind of speaking of the fight sequences, I mean, with the strobe lights, I thought they were just beautifully executed. And I was completely gripped. Can we just say the fact that the season 2 trailer kind of spoiled the shot of them clinging to each other while propelling themselves out of an airlock? I mean, we saw that. And then in its context, it was gorgeous in this episode, but it felt kind of cheap, after seeing the trailer. And I wish they wouldn't have included such a pivotal scene in the trailer for that, but that's just me. So, speaking of trailer and new characters and things, in another plot point, we see the introduction of this incredible Carol Kane as Chief Fleet Inspector Commander Pela, and she's belonging to the fascinating Lethanite species. Am I pronouncing that right? Lethanite. Is that my Appalachia school coming through, Luna? I guess. So these, just a recap, if you don't remember from the episode, these Lethanite species are these, I guess they've successfully posed as humans on Earth for like centuries, and they've possessed like a near immortal nature. I mean, the show definitely doesn't shy away from deliberately positioning her in the vacant chief engineer position, and it's evident, that in this season she's going to be this comedic relief to the series, so that's good. And I mean, I've seen her in a bunch of other stuff, so it's kind of cool to have Carol Kane back in Star Trek. Back in Star Trek. Is she ever in Star Trek, Luna? Okay, you'll let me know. She won't let me know. I know you're just on TikTok, Luna, all day. Well, you're an intern. Why would I pay you? It's the experience. We shouldn't be having this conversation now. Anyway, so I will say this, that her character, Pela, is very captivating, and any concerns, are likely to be easily overlooked, in my opinion. And she definitely brings a distinct viewpoint to the table. She's incredibly intelligent and just kind of profound bored, and just have a yearning for novelty. And so I think it's going to be cool to see how that aligns with the rest of the crew. And plus this established connection between Pela and Spock's mother, Amanda. I mean, it sets the stage for this kind of initial bond with Spock, and the kind of the anticipation of her encounter with Pike all becomes more tantalizing. And plus, given his ongoing struggle to come to terms with his knowledge of his imminent demise, I just think she's going to be a kind of good, fun wrench in the mix. So we'll see. And again, kind of going back to Spock's mother, Amanda, she was first seen in the original episode Journey to Babel and was played by Jane Wyatt. And then Winona Ryder played Amanda in the 2009 reboot film. But in current canon, Amanda has been played by Mia Kirshner since Discovery Season 1. And at the end of the episode, I don't know if some of you caught this, Pela mentions that she, quote-unquote, came out as a Lethanite to Spock's mother at some point in the past. So maybe Amanda could reappear this season? Who knows? It's possible. Overall, though, kind of moving away from these new characters and Spock, I think as weekly adventures go, this kind of daring act to steal the Enterprise and embark on this race to foil a crime syndicate, plot to reignite the war between the Federation and Klingons, is definitely weighty material, especially coming straight into the new season. So, bold decision, and fortune favors the bold, and it paid off, in my opinion. However, it definitely provided an opportunity for the show to delve deeper into Chapel and M'Benga's relationship that's never really been explored before. I mean, much of the Good Doctor's narrative in the first season, if you guys remember, was really kind of always revolving around his hidden, terminally ill daughter, stored in the ship's pattern buffer. But now, in Broken Circle, it's unveiled that, he has lingering scars, that they're kind of glimpsed and experienced during the Klingon War, back on Star Trek Discovery. So it's really going to be fun to kind of flesh those out in the next couple episodes. Maybe not. They could, Strange New Worlds loves to play with our expectations, so we may not get that. However, I will say Jess Bush and Babs, can we just call them Babs? Babs Ulasan-Mukin have remarkable chemistry in their brief moments together, but this episode offers us a genuine glimpse into the significance they hold for one another and the somber history that they share. And so when, the first season of Strange New Worlds came out, it was exceptional. And a lot of people, including myself, question, is this kind of just beginner's luck? Is it just an accident? Are they going to poop the bed, land the plane in season 2 and be able to keep up this great writing and character arcs? And I really think they will. And concerns may arise, about the ability of the creative team to kind of capture the lightning in a bottle once again and avoid that sophomore slump. But if Broken Circle is any indication, I am confidently declaring that the show will continue to just be as thought-provoking and fun and thrilling as the first season. And I'm anticipating the rest of the show. So we'll see. Again, we have to take up the Picard glasses because Picard was so beloved and it was like going to a warm bath, and I loved every freaking episode and it was awesome. And then now it's kind of like, okay, this is a completely different vibe, completely different show, completely different track, and I can't bring that over anymore. And that's been really hard to do. And I'll be honest, initially I was very disappointed with the episode, but I had to go back and rewatch it. And then I was like, okay, this actually isn't bad. I just kind of brought really high expectations that weren't indicative or fair to the show. So moving on, we're going to get into our fun Easter egg section of the review. And, we see a lot of nods to the original series, to Deep Space Nine. We see a very generous sprinkle of Discovery Easter eggs as well. Kind of just encompasses the entire franchise, goes everywhere. And if you think about it, I feel like as a prequel to the original series, Strange New Worlds could have just been literally wall to wall with Easter eggs. Nearly every single minute of its runtime could be that way. Merely being aboard the Enterprise is kind of a Easter egg of itself to the original series. But either way, let's get into some Easter eggs from the Broken Circle. So first off, the Klingon War recap. Although Anson Mount says last season on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the recap also includes several shots from Discovery Season 1 and Season 2. We see the USS Shenzhou drifting in space. next to the Klingon sarcophagus ship, fighting a different Klingon ship, as well as we see Captain Pike again rocking that awesome blue Discovery uniform. And chronologically, the Klingon War began in 2256, which puts it about 2 years after the events of the episode The Cage, and Discovery Season 2 ended in about 2258, and Strange New Worlds Season 1 began in roughly 2259, and presumably we're still around 2259, 2260 in Season 2, so right at the cusp of peace in the Khitomer Accords between the Klingons and the Federation. Another great Easter egg was the Boy Scout reference, so number 1 says, "There's the Boy Scout in you again," when Pike says he's going to fight for what's right. And this feels kind of like almost a roundabout reference to Kirk in the Wrath of Khan, when David referred to Kirk as a quote-unquote overgrown Boy Scout. But I don't know if Kirk or Pike were ever Boy Scouts, but this is a fun Wrath of Khan reference there. And moving on to probably the biggest Easter egg was the origin of Spock's Vulcan lute, or Vulcan harp, or whatever you want to call it. It's Spock's Vulcan nature blocks his emotions, and they're kind of in this state of flux in this episode. And Mbengwa, is that Mbenga? I'm so bad at that. Prescribes him a unique stress reliever. It's kind of, hey, make some music. That'll help calm you down, get your nerves under control. And in terms of chronological appearances of Spock's Vulcan lute, this appears to be the very first time he plays the instrument as part of his regular routines. In real life, in real Linda, the prop was designed for the original series by Hua Chang, a brilliant prop maker, model maker, who built and designed several objects for TOS, including the classic tricorder, the Romulan bird of prey, and even the classic Gorn. So Spock's harp is a big deal throughout Trek canon, if you didn't know, and it actually appeared for the first time in the episode Charlie X, and in Spock's hands for the last time in The Final Frontier. But from Voyager to Lower Decks, this classical, it's a fake instrument, is everywhere in Trek canon. And, there was a little bit of maybe tip of the cap in this episode when Uhura shows interest in Spock playing music and maybe foreshadowing their musical collaboration in the original series. So staying with the Spock Easter egg, I love that they really played with his quote-unquote thing. So Ortegas, Mitchell, and Uhura, they kind of all tease Spock about getting catchphrase, to send the ship into warp. And in all the contemporary Treks, this has become kind of a running gag. Saru workshopped his thing in Discovery Season 3. Captain Freeman says, "Warp me," in Lower Decks. And Picard Season 3 ended with the audience not knowing what 709's catchphrase was. So, weirdly enough, back in the original series, both Pike and Kirk said "engage" a few times. In fact, "engage" was Pike's thing way before it was Picard. Why did Pike switch to "hit it" after The Cage? Nobody knows. My thing would totally be "punch it" or "let's light this candle." That would just be my thing. It's really tough to say. You never know. Because when there's, a crowd of people, 15, 16 people on the bridge, you want it to be cool and inspiring. But either way, that has been the review of Broken Circle. And again, let us know what you think. Hit us up on social media. We love to hear from you guys. So, Luna, let's wrap this up. Wow, what a great way to start off Season 2. And I know that there were some that didn't like the pacing or the overall feel of the episode. But to me, again, I really enjoyed it. I had to watch it again a second time just to get those Picard glasses off. But Strange New Worlds is definitely keeping its own and keeping that momentum from the first season. Also, I want to kind of make an announcement for the podcast that we have a really interesting review coming along this week as well. Not also doing Strange New Worlds this week, but doing something that took me a lot of time to do. We're reviewing our first Trek comic series. And it took me so long because we had to order off Amazon and books had to come in. We had to wait a week or two. And so I just couldn't, do the review until I got, I think it was 5 or 6 issues. But either way, I'm certain everyone's going to enjoy it. It's definitely very nerdy. It's probably the most nerdy thing I've ever reviewed in my life. But I love it, and I'll give you a hint. Okay, I'll give it. Luna's speaking in my ear saying I should give a hint. I'll give a hint. Here's the hint. We should stop monkeying around, Captain Kirk, and get to the mission. That's all I'm going to say. We should stop monkeying around, Captain Kirk, and get to the mission. That's all I'll say. That's the hint, but that'll be coming out in the next few days before the Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 2 review comes out. Also, if you're kind of in need for more great entertainment and other reviews outside of Trek, please check out www.jasontalksmovies.wordpress.com. He just did a new review on the Spider-Verse movie, and it was fantastic. Check it out. His link to the blog is in the episode description that you clicked on to listen to this fantastic episode. And again, thank you for listening, and I'm really looking forward to covering all of Strange New Worlds Season 2 with you guys. And remember, as we wrap up today, take care of yourselves and others, and always, second star to the right, straight on till morning.